Today is Monday, February 26th, 2024. My daughter just left for Europe trip. She will be traveling to Japan, Germany, Czechoslovakia, Austria, and Italy. So she left about 6 hours ago, and she would be on her way to the airplane now. Probably boarding will start soon. I am gonna study more about English and on English and the Chinese. So here I am. This one is from squeaky.energy and it's a 6-minute read. I have 10 minutes to go before I drive to work. So here we go. 13 Power Purchase Agreement PPA terms explained by Chris Bowden, August 15th and 2023. In common with most technical fields, the world of power purchase agreements PPAs is shrouded in a thick cloak of jargon. To make matters worse, the same concepts often have different terminology attached, particularly across different jurisdictions. This short guide explains some of the key PPA terms we use at Squeaky, alongside some of the other names by which they are referred to by others in the industry. Route to market or market access PPA. In a route to market PPA, a generator agrees to sell the output of a facility referenced to the prevailing market price, as quoted on an exchange such as N2EX or EPEX. These are also known as market access PPAs and are predominantly offered by utilities or aggregators or brokers. They typically include a discount to the market price and exchange for services, including registration of the meter within the system, which requires a supply license, forecasting, balancing, and physical trading. Pay as produced or as generated PPA. In a pay as produced PAP-PPA, the off-taker buys all power produced by the facility, but each half hour in the UK, typically for a fixed price. These are also called as generated PPAs. Baseload PPA. In a baseload PPA, the off-taker buys a constant volume of power for a specified period, annual, seasonal, and monthly over the term of the agreement, typically for a fixed price. These are also known as firm PPAs, although firm PPAs can be firmed to peak load or other shapes to match the demand profile of the buyer. Shape or profile risk. This risk, which is sometimes referred to as profile risk, is where the profile of facilities' power production does not align with the demand profile of the end user. This might be due to the nature of the technology. Solar generators produce most power in the middle of the day, or due to the inherent variability of renewable energy generation. While it's possible to predict the overall output of intermittent technologies over a longer time frame, short-term generation can significantly fluctuate due to weather conditions. Volume risk, sometimes conflated with shape risk, which is an intertemporal mismatch of generation and demand. Volume risk relates to greater or lesser generation than expected over a period of time, typically annually. In a pay-as-produced PPA, generation greater than expected can result in an excess quantity of power for the off-taker, whilst lower than expected generation would result in the off-taker receiving less power than anticipated. Capture risk. This risk, which is driven by shape and volume risk, pertains to the variability and unpredictability of generation by intermittent energy facilities and the price that is captured by the facility compared with the average firm market price over the same period. Capture risk is a key consideration that affects both generators and pay-as-produced PPA off-takers. For generators, capture risk influences the revenues they earn. Off-takers, meanwhile, may end up paying for power at a predetermined fixed rate, which is delivered at times in which the market price is lower. Capture rate. Dividing the capture price for a facility by the firm baseload market price gives the capture rate. This is also known as an asset's quality factor. The capture rate for a particular renewable generation facility will vary over time and depends on the measurement period. It is primarily driven by the type of renewable technology. Influencing factors include daily variation in generation. Solar facilities only operate during the day, when prices are typically higher than at night, increasing the capture rate of a solar facility. Interseasonal variation in generations. Roughly 75% of annual generation of a UK solar facility occurs during the summer, when power prices are generally lower than the winter, therefore reducing solar facilities' capture rate over a year. By contrast, wind generation is typically winter-weighted. Really? Cannibalization risk. See below. Cannibalization risk. An increasing proportion of wind and solar generation on the grid will reduce the capture prices for those technologies. Within any grid that covers a limited geographical area, such as the UK, generation of one wind facility is likely to be correlated with other wind facilities. Similarly, solar facilities all generate power in the same pattern when the sun is shining. Therefore, during periods of high generation for one facility, the grid will tend to have an excess of supply, driving down prices. By contrast, market prices would likely be higher at times the facility and facilities using the same technology are not generating. As a growing volume of similar renewable energy technologies are added to a grid, the net impact of these effects can be to significantly reduce the value they can capture from the power they sell. Hence the term cannibalization, balancing risk. Balancing risk represents the risk that a facility's annual output will be different to its next day forecast generation. This can lead to the system operator charging its operator penalty fees. For a wind and solar generator, managing the balancing risk can either be done by setting up trading agreements to manage it in-house, or more typically is outsourced to an intermediary via a route to market PPA in exchange for balancing discount from the contract reference price. Route to market PPA's contracts typically deliver around 95% of the reference price, while a system price contract that does not include any balancing discount would typically deliver 98 to 99% of the reference price. I have to stop here and come back to basis risk because I have to go to work now. Almost I'm done now with the work and I am about to go back home. This is where I was trying to begin. So I'm going to read and finish up this article for you. Basis risk. This term is often used to describe mismatches in the energy supply and demand. However, within the PPA market, it describes the mismatch between the reference price within a PPA and the actual prices to which contract participants are exposed. Mismatches could, for example, be found in a power market with zonal pricing, such as the US, where a virtual PPA is struck against an index like ERCOT, but the consumer buys physical power priced against a different index. In the UK, that's basis risk. In the UK, a contract for difference, CFD, which is settled against the intermittent market reference price calculated using day-ahead data from Apex Spot and Nord Pool, combined with a route to market PPA settled against N2EX, is exposed to base risk. Firming, shaping and balancing. Firming, often referred to as a shaping and balancing, is the conversion of as-produced power generation as per a PAP/PPA into a firm power, typically baseload, thereby eliminating shape, volume, capture, and balance risks for the off-taker. Availability is a key metric measuring a facility's operational performance. It is typically calculated as a percentage representing the total volume of electricity a facility is able to produce at a point in time, divided by its contracted capacity. This is a mechanical availability and doesn't take into account weather conditions or other factors such as grid constraints, etc. It is usually covered by manufacturer's warranty and is also impacted by regular maintenance of the facility. Mechanical availability typically falls over time due to the degradation of physical assets. Degradation, right? Falls over time. It falls over time. Contracts for difference. A CFD is a financial mechanism to stabilize the revenues a facility generates. In the UK, generators are invited to bid a strike price which they are prepared to receive to sell power. If the market price for that power is below that strike, they receive payments from the Low Carbon Contracts Company, LCCC, a government-owned entity. If it is above the strike, they agree to pay the difference to the LCCC. This is referred to as a two-way CFD, as opposed to the one-way CFDs common in Germany, where a generator is guaranteed a minimum level of revenue, but retains additional revenue if wholesale market prices exceed the CFD strike price. CFDs are settled against a market index in the UK, a combination of indices, meaning a generator either needs a route to market PPA or needs to manage forecasting, balancing, and trading the power themselves. Wow, this is quite an esoteric article, but before I close this article, there are several expressions that I would like to remember, like a falls over time, degradation, availability, strike price, or wholesale price, shaping, firming, basis risk, balancing risk, cannibalization risk, capture rate, capture risk, volume risk, shape or profile risk, balanced PPA, pay as produced or as generated, pay as generated, pay as produced, or day ahead rate, right? Day ahead rate. Route to market, market access PPA. So 13 power purchase agreement terms explained. You did a good job, Mr. Chris Bowden. I really liked your article. As always, the British people are much smarter than American people. I really agree on that idea. This article was from squeaky.energy. Squeaky, the fascinating article. Thanks for listening. Have a wonderful Monday night. Bye-bye.